Hello, my name is Liz Stockton. I'm the Agricultural Drainage Program Coordinator at King Conservation District. I've been in this position since 2018. This summer will be my fourth year managing these drainage projects, and I'd like to provide some background information about this program prior to the start of our very busy upcoming 2021 season. Here are a few topics I would like to review. First, why is ag drainage important? Next, I'll provide a high-level overview of how the program works, and then I'd like to get into how we identify and rank projects, and lastly, provide some of our ag drainage metrics. So why is ag drainage important? Well, functioning ag ditches are critical to the success of farms in Western Washington. Seasonal flooding is expected in our area, but without proper drainage on farms, portions of farmland are lost because they become either too wet to plow in the spring or too wet to harvest crops from in the fall. Farmers were maintaining their drainage systems up until 1990, when King County adopted the Sensitive Areas Ordinance, which halted all routine dredging. As a result, many waterways have become choked with sediment and invasive weeds. Over the past 2 decades, this lack of maintenance has been compounded by rapid urbanization, which has increased stormwater runoff. Hundreds of acres have become too wet to farm, and production has diminished on hundreds of additional acres. Farmability. King County has an estimated 1,800 farms on 51,000 acres of land with an annual sales of $121 million. Supporting our local farmers provides nutritious local food for a growing King County population and reduces our carbon footprint. Safety. Of course, we want to keep farm workers safe. We want to keep farm animals and livestock safe also. We also want to consider farm equipment and infrastructure as well. Habitat. There are more than 300 miles of watercourses flowing through ag production districts in King County. With most of these watercourses designated as fish-bearing, migrating salmonids need to be able to move through these systems to complete their life cycles. Similarly, these clogged ditches have led to increased water temperatures that also are detrimental to salmonids. We can continue to improve both farmland and fish habitat through these projects. And this picture illustrates how these projects can benefit both. On the left, you'll see a completely clogged culvert, and it's not functioning. It's been causing quite a problem for fish habitat, but also the farmer was not allowed to remove this and replace this for over 2 decades. And on the picture on the right, you can see we replaced this with a farm bridge, which obviously is providing good passage for fish and provides a safe way for cattle and small tractors to cross as well. In 2015, KCD began partnering with King County ADAP, which is the Ag Drainage Assistance Program, to provide cost share for cooperators to complete this work. The King County ADAP engineer completes all survey and project plans, and KCD acts as the project manager. The King County ADAP engineer applies for permitting to complete this work that must be completed between July 1st and September 30th, also referred to as the fish window. When projects have sites where water is still in the ditch, dams are placed in the ditch to block off the site. All aquatic animals are safely removed and relocated, and water from the ditch is diverted. That's when sediment removal begins. In the following fall or spring, the site is planted with a 2 to 3 row buffer of native plants. And these pictures illustrate what our typical project site looks like when there is a lot of water involved and water to move. However, it's important to point out that most of our projects do not have water in the ditch at the time of dredging. That's why we choose most of the projects to do in September, which is the driest time of the year for us. On some occasions, we will find juvenile salmon, as seen in the picture to the right-hand corner. This is a coho juvenile salmon, which is the only type of salmon we have caught in any of our projects, and he was safely released into a nearby stream. How do we identify and rank projects? First, we want to increase the most farmable acreage in King County. We are also interested in finding sites where there is a multiple farmer benefit. Next, we want to complete outreach to historically underserved communities. And what this has meant in the past is that we work directly with the King County Hmong Farmer Outreach Coordinator to address the needs of the Hmong community. We also want to ensure there's a balance of projects happening throughout the 5 agricultural production districts. It's important to work with our tribal partners to understand which creeks are a top priority for salmon habitat recovery. We also want to work collaboratively with drainage and irrigation districts that are engaging with their farmers regularly and understand their needs on a more intimate level. We also want to work with the Snoqualmie Valley Watershed Improvement District to select high priority basins through their completed drainage analysis. And lastly, I work daily with the KCD resource planners, who are valuable assets in identifying new drainage projects. Here are a few projects that we have already completed. This is in the Snoqualmie Valley near the Tolt River. The ditch, as you can see on the left, was totally clogged with reed canary grass, which is an invasive weed. And in the picture on the right, after the project was completed, there was obviously a huge benefit to the farmer, as he can now plant the south side of his field without worry of having his crop underwater by September or October. Next, here's a picture from a project we completed in the Enumclaw Plateau. Again, there were tons of blackberry and reed canary grass in the ditch. We cleaned that out, we installed a new culvert, and we brought back about 5 acres into production on this cooperator's land. Here is another project that occurred in North Carnation. And on this project, there were about 5 farmers that benefited from this project. About 5,000 feet were dredged and 4 culverts were replaced. Here are some of our ag drainage metrics since 2015. There have been 80,000 linear feet of drainage ways improved, which equals about 15 miles. There have been 21 farm crossings replaced, and 18 of those have been designated as fish passage barriers. We were able to work with about 45 land managers, and we've established relationships with multiple agencies and tribal partners. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please email me at liz.stockton@kingcd.org. Take care.